now, so we're going to start the Q&A portion for the financial vice presidents. Do we have any questions from the crowd first before we start? All right.
So Julia, you mentioned that you, in your platform, you mentioned how you calculated what would be the most efficient cost and being able to justify it to the people that are asking for it, for the events. As you calculate the efficient cost, it is possible that someone would negate your idea or find that that's not sufficient amount of funds for them. How would you, would you be open to changing it, or how well will you, will you be stern about the price because you have already calculated it, or would you be open to changing that decision, I guess?
I think the most important thing is to hear people out first before I shut down an idea. I don't really believe in shutting down ideas. I believe in explaining why you don't agree with that idea. From what you were saying, I think that it's important to at least hear what specifically isn't being funded if that dollar amount isn't cutting it, and why that's necessary for the club. Is it contributing to anything positive? Is it really going to make a difference to whatever event is being put on? Things like that. So yeah, something that would be very important to me as financial vice president is to use funds that actually positively contribute to something in PASS, and not just, it's nice, it looks pretty.
All right, thank you. One question from the committee is that John set up a great foundation, but we can't get too comfortable. How will you work to improve and make the position of financial vice president better for both of you?
I'd like to start. I like how John really took the initiative to kind of help calculate our earnings, our savings, and what we kind of spend on a daily to daily to weekly basis. So keeping that kind of consistency where we need to calculate how much everything is, make sure that everything's being spent on what's needed and not what would be wanted. So definitely keeping it consistent in terms of fundraisers and keeping logistics on point, I would say. As well as introducing new ideas where we can kind of help network outside of just our organization. So really focusing on sponsorships from either local businesses or even already established businesses that we've had previous connections to in the past.
I think that fundraisers are probably going to be our best bet, because sponsorships are difficult to get in Irvine specifically because it's mostly large businesses. I think that John has done a great job with using money wisely. PASS, he started off as financial vice president not having any money, and he's got it to a very comfortable place, I'd say. But I think one thing I would change is that John does give everything that he can to the club, but I feel like sometimes he shouldn't have to the extent that he does. I think that delegating work to other people would be a good thing. It would benefit the financial vice president because they'd have more time to focus on getting sponsorships versus driving somewhere to pick something up when someone else can do that.
Another question for the both of you. So let's say we're not able to get cooking spots for fundraisers. What alternate ideas do you have for Ring Road fundraisers?
May I ask, does it have to be particularly a Ring Road fundraiser?
Yes, because in this situation, with the Ring Road fundraiser, we don't get a cooking spot, so in lieu of Leah, what would we do?
Okay.
So yes.
Well, I don't have anything at the moment, but in previous years, PASS has done no fundraisers where we've kind of readied and prepared things that were kind of necessary to help sell out our fundraiser. We could definitely take that initiative with when we have fundraisers, help prepare them in, I guess, large batches for fundraisers. If it's really that much of a, I guess, a concern, and for us, we could definitely outsource our own ideas. So like I said earlier, we can definitely still sell lumpia, maybe not cook it on the spot, but have them ready to be kind of like made and just like be given out as orders are being ordered.
I would steer away from foods that are intended to be warm but are going to be eaten cold. I think that maybe some popular Filipino desserts that don't need to be warm would be good, or even doesn't have to be Filipino food. We could have healthy food as an option. Like I know, last week at the fundraiser, people were craving watermelon. They paid a lot of money for watermelon, and so I think just bringing something that Ring Road doesn't really have, which is usually healthy alternatives, would be a good option.
Another question from us. Oh, actually, specifically for Jesse. What kind of growth are you expecting from FVP since you've already held an executive position?
I'm open to any and all growth because. But yes, I'm open to as much growth as kind of like given to me. I want to be able to handle situations where I'm not really familiar with, because I think that's kind of like what offers the most. Sorry. I'm willing to take on challenges that I'm not necessarily really comfortable with, because I do know at the end of the day, if you're kind of being like complacent and steady where you are, then you are making progress in yourself, bettering yourself as a person. You want to be able to challenge yourself in instances where you aren't necessarily familiar with. So, to kind of like answer your question, I'm open to all challenges and to being able to kind of like reserve those challenges for my own growth.
Next question is for Julia. So in your platform, you mentioned working with Fusion. And so we wanted to ask, why did you specifically mention Fusion? And do you have other ideas with the other Filipino clubs?
So the reason that I chose Fusion specifically was because our clubs are the smaller of the Alianza organizations. I know that in the past, trying to do fundraisers with other Alianza orgs, it didn't really work out because they were so big that they wanted a large portion of the money from the fundraiser. So honestly, I don't know how to mend that issue to work with the other Alianza orgs. So I think that Fusion and PASS did great with our service auction, and it seems that we all get along well, and the club politics aren't too difficult to deal with. So
We can take one or two more questions from the audience. Oh, Rima first.
So my question to you guys is like, what quality, trait, or characteristic you think that you possess that will help you in the position, and like nothing like experience related, like just personality trait, quality, or characteristic.
I would say being self-driven will push me in this position. I've always been that way. I've never been told that I need to do something. I've just done it, and I think that will help me in being motivated to get sponsorships and to set up fundraisers, because I have a goal, and that goal is to serve PASS as much as I can so that PASS has the means to grow, and so no one will really have to worry about me putting in the work.
For myself, I'd like to really thank like the previous years of being involved in PASS. It's really helped me kind of like grow my networking skills, and because like I myself is more considered like as an extrovert, I have the qualities kind of needed to really work and like work with people, understand what their wants and needs are versus what our own opinions are kind of like entitled to. So I work with people very well, and I think that can really help push PASS into the right direction in terms of our relationship with not just the other Alianza organizations, or not just like the like Phil-Am community, but just as like the whole community as a whole. There's a lot of growth and room for what we can do.
Thank you. Now we have one more question.
That's pretty quick. Our current FVP is going to leave us in a comfortable spot. Do you guys have any initiatives and/or ways of continuing this longevity of the funds?
I think it's definitely to not stop the grind and whatever we kind of like want for ourselves. So with John, he's done an incredible job this year, and I want to be able to do the same and kind of like exceed him if I can. Because where we are now, we are comfortable, as you like to say, in terms of our finances. But I don't want us just to be comfortable. I want us to be able to be sufficient in funds. And like for that, I want us to also be able to grow. And I won't stop like not having fundraisers just because like, you know, like I'm tired of doing this one day. Like you have to be able to be persistent and consistent and want to be able to persevere through like every day, because you want to be able to have like all those hard work qualities, so that way you aren't always stressing out about it at the end of the day.
I agree with what Jesse's saying, that we can't just rest on the amount of money that we have now. We should keep pushing, because we don't know the potential that PASS would have if PASS has the means to grow. That's just unfortunately how the world works, that you need money to be able to do things. And so I think that, yeah, we need to keep saving, keep putting money into useful things, and
All right, and that's all the time we have for our FVP candidates.